We're making history today in Snippet Land. Hello, gals, and welcome aboard Sober Living Snippets, where we live alcohol-free so we can heal up those relationships, feel youthful again, and ditch regret and shame. We have a big, big day here today. For the first time in 2 years, for the first time since the history of Snippets, you're going to hear another voice other than Becca's. Things will never be the same. Are you ready for this? I am honored and delighted and thrilled to share with you today a talk I had with a former client, and I'm really glad that you get to hear somebody's voice for once other than just mine. So everybody, sit back, enjoy. Here's a chat I had recently with Susan.
So I'm really, really excited that you decided to come and join me on this snippet, Susan. You're actually the first one.
Wow.
The first client success story we're doing here on the snippets. All these 2 years, it's been so low. And so welcome to Snippet Land.
Yay, thank you.
And I'd love it if you just introduce yourself to the snippet lovers and let us know where you're coming from.
Okay, fellow snippet lover. My name is Susan. I'm 66 years old and in my 4th month of sobriety for the first time, other than being pregnant twice, for the first time in over 50 years. I'm sad to say I waited too long, but I did it and I'm here to stay. I'm confident of that now. I struggled on and off with alcohol for a very long time. I would say in the last 15 years or so, I've known I needed to cut back at first, which sort of works for a while. And then probably the last 5 years, it's like I just knew I had to quit. And found Becca in November, a very rough night.
That's usually when they find the snippets with a headache, right?
Yeah.
Help me. Yeah.
And there was no aspirin in the house that night. So I suffered the entire night.
Where are you coming from, Susan?
I am in Oregon at the beach.
Oregon.
Yeah. I live near the beach in Oregon. 6 years ago, we moved here from Portland and retired. And that comes with a whole new set of challenges for me.
Yeah. Yeah, it definitely does. A whole new life, right?
Mm-hmm.
Trying to adjust to. Mm-hmm. So you say, 4 months of sobriety you have. Mm-hmm. Tell me about that journey. What was that? You found me, you say, after a difficult night. What happened? Tell us about that.
I had my difficult night, but I was had been on day 4 because I had my difficult night. I was on day 4. And I've been listening to podcasts for a few years. I've read many, many quit lit books, and they're wonderful and they all help, but they all also give a message you can't do it alone. But I never reached out. I came close a couple times, but just one night, and I would always Google or search for sober women over 50. I don't know how I never found you. I found a couple. Or I would search for sobriety and retirement, or, and one night I found her, you. And it just resonated with me. And I have it in my journal. Like I found a snippet, a podcast that I really connect with this person. I think I'm going to call her.
Wow.
And 4 days later, I called her and I said, I connect with this woman. I think she's the one. And I knew for a long time I had to do this, but I found her. And
I'm in your journal. I'm honored. That's amazing.
Yeah, you're locked in my journal. But
that's awesome.
And I believe like maybe the timing was right in my life, or how I never found you before that. Maybe I was ready and you came along. All of it just came at the right time. And I really feel so good.
That's amazing. Last week, I did a 5-day challenge, the Sober Spring Cleanse. And one of the women in there on the Sunday Zoom, she said, I don't know how this happened. I hear that a lot. Why did I all of a sudden find you? And somebody else said, well, remember that old saying, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear, kind of thing. It seems to be just
100%.
yeah. So that's great. I mean, when your time comes, it comes and you feel it. So good for you for reaching out.
Yeah.
What was it like to reach out? Were you nervous to talk to me?
Yes.
Yes.
There was definitely hesitation. But I knew I've tried it myself so many times,
Yeah.
and I had small successes. Like I followed 3 of the 5 days of your challenge, and I think when you talked about what was your relationship a year ago, I went back in my journal and I saw that I was on a 51-day sobriety, and which was also one of the
Wow.
longest I had done. But
Yeah.
then I cooked a meal that required white wine, and I drank a glass of white wine, and immediately I noted in my journal all the cravings came back. And then
Fueled by a recipe.
Yes.
Fueled by a recipe.
That's all it takes. Cooking is one of my triggers. So
Yeah. Yeah. Actually, for a lot of us. Yeah.
I love to have a beer mostly, but I'm not usually a wine drinker, but I
So
always
you
drink
looked
wine.
back. You looked back to a year ago when I said that. Wow.
Yes. Yes. And then there was a 6-month no entry. I probably had 2 days of entries after that. Then there was a 6-month, and then when I started again, I recapped the 6 months and everything that had happened. And then my last statement was, I'm still struggling with alcohol.
Wow.
And then I had a 4-day, and then I found you. And so
I mean, look at that, right? This is what we do. That's what I did. And we realize this is my life passing me by as I make up stories that I can somehow quit. And yet we still believe it over and over that we can. It's amazing. This alcohol is so tricky. So I'm just so happy for you. What happened after that? Tell us what happened
Well,
next.
then I called you. And so for me, I go back and forth. I'm 66. So sometimes I think, in much of your transitional courses, you really have to look to the future. And I didn't have that in my mindset. Like, what is in the future for a 66-year-old, which I know
Right.
that's sad, but true.
Well, I
And,
hope we straightened that out a little
and
bit,
you
but
did.
yes.
I think it was our first phone call. You said, well, think a year from now, are you going to feel any better?
Yeah.
And that started my mindset. Like, yeah, I still am going to be alive a year from now, and I want to feel better. So that was the
Yes.
beginning of changing my mindset. And that's what it's about. That's
It
what your
is.
course is about.
It
And that's
is.
what makes it different and doable for me, With the courses, every day I wrote, I believe in myself. I believe in myself 3 times. I think that came from you. Or I wrote, I am sober. I am sober. Like, it has to be embedded in your mind that you
Yes.
believe that.
Yes.
And I learned that through the course.
Amazing. Well, you know what you did, though, is you showed up and you did the course, Susan, right? It takes a lot of courage to make that first call. But then once you decided, because I remember our first meeting, and it's not an easy call to make. But then once you committed, you were committed. And was there a shift, a moment in time where you just decided, okay, I'm in now, I'm in. Was there, can you tell us a bit about what that was like?
I would say as soon as I signed up and I committed, and then we had a Zoom meeting with other women, and I wrote about that too. It's like, it's very comforting to know that there's other women on this journey with me.
Yes.
I'm not alone. And I knew I couldn't be alone. I knew there had to be other women out there like me. I think I struggled after my kids got older. And I was
Right.
like, who am I now? I'm not mom anymore. And then I retired. It's like, okay, so now I'm not mom, or I don't have a job.
Yes.
So I still have my friend alcohol. Every day is a Saturday, so.
Right.
So having other women that were like me and struggling too, and to support each other. I know now that's very important. So yeah,
Yes,
it
so
was worth it.
powerful,
Hmm.
so
Very
powerful.
powerful. I like the humor, and you put a positive twist on everything. You just know how to do that. And
Oh, thank you. Well, I was
you're
just sitting here thinking a year from now, you got where are you going to be 20 years from now? 86. I can see the 86-year-old Susan,
welcome.
alcohol free and still out there doing what you do. You're a skier.
Skiing.
Yeah, yeah, I know. It's like a skiing. Yes.
My goal in life is to get that free ticket, when you're old enough. Except they keep raising the age, for that free ticket. It used to be 65. I think it's 75 now to get a free
Oh my
pass.
goodness. See, there's so many of us out there, the older that, and they're like,
Yeah,
there's too many of them. They're all
yeah,
skiing now. Yeah.
so,
Because we know how to look after ourselves. I'm so
yeah,
happy for you, so proud of
yeah,
you. So
yeah.
so you did the 2 months program. What was that like during the 2 months? Were there any moments where you felt like you were gonna fall back or
I, for me, no, I was
wow.
ready.
Okay.
Yeah. And
I
doing the work and having accountability
yeah.
to somebody. I mean, I have my family and they're supportive, but yet they don't understand.
Yeah. And I experienced this too. It's hard to go back when you have a group of people who know you, love you, and are there doing it with you, and you think, "Well, what am I gonna say to them now, like, when we meet?"
Hmm.
Right? So it does help to have the accountability.
It
Yeah.
does. It does.
And you just showed up and showed up and showed up.
Yeah, and I
So
was ready. I
yeah.
am. I do. I wish I did it sooner. Yeah,
Yeah.
but I didn't, and now I'm here and
Yeah.
just looking for the future. Um,
We all wish we'd done it sooner, and to those
yeah.
who haven't done it yet, that's the message, right? You're
Hmm.
gonna wish you'd done it sooner. I'm
Hmm.
curious, what's the one change you made during your time with me that you'd share with anyone struggling with alcohol?
Um, Positive mindset, just
Yes.
really believing. And also, I think that a lot of times when you take a break, you're not sure it's forever. And
Right.
and I had to change. And even when I started, I'll write in my journal, I'm not sure if I can do this forever. And then the change comes. This is forever, and I can do it.
Wow, what was that like?
Freeing
Yeah.
and joyful.
Yes.
Yeah, I do. I feel joy. Not that I don't have my days, but I don't have my days where I have urge, but you know,
The urge to drink for you is gone.
it just is.
And you've
Yeah.
been sober how long? 4 months?
Fun.
And
Yeah.
that's how quick, right? I
For
recently
me.
spoke. Yeah, well, it's different for all of us, but I did
Hmm.
recently talk about that on one of the snippets and said, we need to have at least that first year, but it happens a lot sooner for most of us. And it's the
Hmm.
idea that we don't just not drink, but we don't want to drink,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
And
I'm looking forward to the 1 year. I still believe there's more
oh yeah,
to come.
yes,
I still feel like I'm a baby out there,
yeah,
but
amazing.
it's worth it. Yeah. And I hope I can be helpful to anybody else that, you know, a role
It
model.
yes, and that's why I'm so happy you agreed to come and speak with the
Hmm.
snippet lovers and with me because that's how we do this, right? We support each other and share our
Hmm.
journeys. What would you say to anyone who's trying to decide if they should get help?
If you're trying to decide, then you probably do need help. I mean,
Yeah.
it's a question we have in our mind, um, probably for a long time. I don't think I'm any different than anyone else. It's not easy. And I will say that it's work. And you go through a lot of inner struggle, but in the end, you're proud of yourself.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I am.
After so many disappointments, right?
Mhm.
We
Mhm.
disappoint
Oh,
ourselves
yeah.
so many times, right?
I know. Yesterday, my husband said to me, "Well, you were able to go, a day or 2 or 3 without drinking." I'm like, "Oh, no, I wasn't."
You just thought I was.
It's like I wake up in the morning and I'd say, "Not today, you stupid." And, yeah, I would sneak a beer or 2. I mean, I didn't have a rock bottom moment, I will say that, but it was affecting my health.
Absolutely. I mean, what do we call rock bottom? Here we are, we're
Yeah.
mature, we're in this
Yeah.
era of our lives and we're messing with our health. I don't know about
Mhm.
you, but I don't want to be 80 and sick. I don't want to be
Mhm.
70 and sick. I don't want to be
Right.
60 and sick. Like we want to live our lives.
Yeah.
So to mess with our health, that's a rock bottom. To be
Yeah.
willing to mess with our health, we got
Yeah.
to keep the reality in check here, right? Because we can tell ourselves
Definitely.
stories. I told myself the story. I'm okay. It's all right. I'll take some herbs for the liver because the liver
Yeah.
hurts. Like with my vodka. I said that recently in one of the classes I was teaching. I was taking the vodka with the dandelion. Yeah,
Oh,
there's
yeah.
it's
Liver
crazy.
detox tea.
Yeah. With the vodka for me and for you, your beer. It was like doesn't even make sense, right? We try.
And
We
then
try.
I do yoga, and then, I have an online yoga, and I can click, like, what type of yoga I wanna do for the day, and I'd pick a detox
Yeah.
yoga, you know?
Yeah. I had beer. I better detox.
Yeah.
But don't quit the beer. Just detox on. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. No, these stories we tell. And that's why
Mhm.
we need each other. Because
Mhm.
I always say that, right? Because the stories inside our head start to make sense. And they don't when you say them out loud. You're like, wait, that doesn't actually make sense. So
Mhm.
yeah.
And when you write it down. Mm.
Yes. Yes. And as we know here in Snippet Land, we want to be journaling. We want our sacred space,
Mm.
doing our daily self-care. So yeah, you started journaling a long time ago, and that's really helpful on the journey for you. Tell us about your journaling practice.
Yeah, well, through listening to podcast after podcast and reading Quitlet book after Quitlet book, that the 2 things they always say, well, more than 2, but journaling is one of them. Meditating, I do that.
Mhm.
Exercise, do that when I feel good. Um, but the one thing I didn't do is reach out. So I had been journaling on and off. I have several journals, but there's also years of space in between too.
Right,
And
right.
so yeah, last January 2024, I did dry January. So I started journaling, and I made it 51 days.
Yeah, it's so funny, right? You said the one thing you didn't do was reach out. And I hear
Yep.
that all the time. I was the same. I'll try
Yeah.
anything but that. It's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And yet that's the one thing that works.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
maybe we know that this is going to work. Am I really ready for this? This is scary shit.
Exactly.
Now I can't have right. This is real. This got real all of a
Yes.
sudden.
I think there's something to that, you
Yeah.
know. Just
Fear of
I was
success.
ready.
Yeah, good. I'm so glad, Susan. I'm so
Right.
glad you were ready and that you found the snippets, you found me,
Yeah.
you reached out, and I'm so happy for you that you've got
Yeah.
these 4 months and so much more ahead of you in this year, first year, and you're still in my world, and that makes me
Yes.
happy. And
I'm
what
forever
any
indebted.
aw, any last messages for snippet lovers out there that are still struggling and thinking, can
Um,
I do this?
you can do it and you won't regret it. And
Right.
life is good.
Beautiful.
Without one thing I did tell a story once, and this is what I keep in mind. One day I went out with my son and his partner, and we had brunch and they drank, and then we went to the beach and hung out on the beach, and they drank and I didn't drink. And then I realized at the end of the day we had the same exact day together,
Right.
but I didn't drink. I mean, it was the same day, wonderful brunch, a wonderful walk on the beach. I didn't need to drink. I still enjoyed
Beautiful.
it. So
Yeah.
you can still enjoy life. Dance, you can still dance and sing.
Exactly. Yes, you can. It might feel like it at first that you can't, but you can. Well, thank
Mhm.
you so much, Susan, for being
Yeah,
our first
thank
client
you.
success here on Snippets. I'm so
Thank
honored. There's going to be more of you coming up. And
I'll be
it's
listening.
time. Yeah, it's time we started sharing with others what's going on. So thank you for
Mhm.
breaking the ice. I'm really glad you
You're
joined me.
welcome. Thank you
Okay.
for having me.
Thanks for popping in. Be sure to come back tomorrow so we can keep your head on straight. Sending you buckets of love.